Okay, hi guys. I'm sitting on Mount Royal and I'm going to finish a talk that I did a little while ago about will. It was called The Devil Made Me Do It, an expensive will. And really, my point about this kind of stems from the fact that I notice that a lot of people want to be and do what they are not here to be and do. And, you know, obviously the media tells us we need to look a certain way, and people will expend all kinds of life energy trying to look that way, you know. There's a million examples of this. And the whole thing about free will, really, and as I mentioned, I had a friend who had a tarot deck, and the devil card said free will on it. Because really, you know, the devil corresponds with the lower self. And the lower self obviously has all kinds of agendas that can be manipulated externally. And the lower self is what other people are trying to control in us, you know. So there's a whole passage in Hermann Hesse's book, Damien. And this is a book that is not for everybody, but I found it to be totally amazing. It's like such a beautiful fictional story, and it's very deep. And, you know, it's like going beyond the Christian paradigm at the time, and it's a book that, like, became very famous for a lot of reasons. So I recommend this book. I think a lot of people will have issues with some of the symbolism and the mythology of it, and I think it would be an interesting book for people to really ponder. But anyway, I'm just going to read this one little passage that has to do with will and free will. Okay, so this is the main character is asking his friend Damien about will. He says, "What is all this about will? On the one hand, you say our will isn't free. Then again, you say we only need to concentrate our will firmly on some end in order to achieve it. It does not make sense. If I'm not the master of my own will, then I'm in no position to direct it as I please." He patted me on the back as he always did when he was pleased with me. "Good that you ask," he said, laughing. "You should always ask, always have doubts. But the matter is very simple. If, for instance, a night moth were to concentrate its will on flying to a star or some equally unattainable object, it wouldn't succeed. Only it wouldn't even try it in the first place. A moth confines its search to what has sense and value for it and what it needs, what is indispensable to its life. And that is how a moth achieves the incredible. It develops a magic sixth sense which no other creature has. We have a wider scope, greater variety of choice, and wider interest than an animal, but we too are confined to a relatively narrow compass which we cannot break out of. If I imagined that I wanted under all circumstances to get to the North Pole, to achieve it, I would have to desire it strongly enough so that my whole being was ruled by it. Once that is the case, once you have tried something that you have been ordered to do from within yourself, then you'll be able to accomplish it. Then you can harness your will to it like an obedient nag. But if I were to decide to will that the pastor should stop wearing his glasses, it would be useless. That would be making a game of it. But at the same time, in the fall, when I was resolved to move away from my seat in the front row, it wasn't difficult at all. Suddenly there was someone whose name preceded mine in the alphabet, and who had made away sick until then, and since someone had made room for him, it was me, of course, because my will was ready to seize the opportunity at once. So basically what he's saying is you can't, not only can you not get other people to necessarily do what you want, whatever you want them to do, you can't necessarily do that to yourself. And so we see so much manipulation of people's so-called free will, and people are they're really having their wills directed. Obviously our genetics have limitations. This whole entire reality is all about the limitation factor. And so really people who work within their limitations properly can be very successful. And I think that is what leads to expansion. Because a lot of people are living a far more restricted life than they were really meant to. And a lot of people are really restricting themselves because of the will of others and the way that others have entrained them. And so I think, I would love to do more on this, but I just wanted to put out those thoughts because I really wanted this to go in that other vlog. So I'm working on some things that are just taking a while. So have a great day.